Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elliot Payne. I'm the president of Minneapolis City Council. I will call to order this regular meeting of the City Council for January 15th. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Warren.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Present.
Councilmember Whiting.
Present.
Councilmember Chowdhury is absent. Councilmember Stevenson.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Present.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Vice President Osman.
Present.
President Payne.
Present.
There are 12 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members and staff that this meeting is broadcast live to enable greater public participation. The broadcast includes real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. With that, the agenda for today's meeting is before us. I'll note that item number 8 under new business, which relates to a resolution calling for a state moratorium on evictions, has been noticed to include a public comment period. The intent is to allow our constituents the opportunity to share their positions on this proposal with us prior to a vote. However, our council rules do not permit public comment at meetings of the full council, that being a core function of our standing committees. Therefore, the motion is to adopt the agenda as presented, together with a motion to suspend Council Rule 7.2.d to permit the acceptance of the public comments on that agenda item, as I've already described. Additionally, I'm proposing a new business item number 9, which is a resolution condemning the egregious disregard of constitutional rights and the reprehensible unsanctioned commission of violent acts against the Minneapolis community during Operation Metro Surge. Printed copies of the resolution are in front of all of us. Are there any amendments to be made to the agenda? May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as I've stated?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury is absent. Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Nay.
Councilmember Vitaw.
No.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 2 nays.
That carries, and the agenda is adopted as amended. The next item is acceptance of minutes. Today we have 4 sets of minutes. They are from the final 3 meetings of 2025, held on December 9th, 11th, and 16th, as well as from our organizational meeting for this term, which was held on January 5th. I would entertain a motion to accept all of those minutes.
So moved. Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the minutes have been accepted. Finally, we have the referral of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees. May I have that motion, please?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those matters have been referred. Colleagues, today's meeting is being held in order to handle time-sensitive business that could not be delayed until the first regular cycle of our committee meetings, which are set to begin on Monday, January 26th. So the bulk of our agenda is under new business. Under the standard legislative process, these items would have been brought forward through our standing committees with the committee's recommendations. However, we are dispensing with all of these items today without a prior review and recommendation. This is to ensure that city business can continue as planned. We have a couple items to dispense with before we get to new business, however. The first order of business is notice of ordinance introductions. Under the city charter and our council rules, each ordinance is subject to 2 readings conducted on 2 separate days following the formal notice of intent to bring forward an ordinance for its first reading, formal introduction to the legislative process, and referral to the standing committee having subject matter jurisdiction. Today, we have our first notice of 2026-2029 term, and that is a notice from Councilmember Wansley to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council, which is scheduled for February 5th. The subject matter of an ordinance to amend the housing code to authorize eviction moratoria during states of emergency. And before I open up for questions, I'll first recognize that we've been joined by Councilmember Chowdhury. Are there any questions on this notice? Seeing none, that notice is hereby given and no further action is required at this time. As I indicated in the formal introduction, will come at the next regular meeting of the City Council, which is scheduled for Thursday, February 5th. Our next order of business is unfinished business. Today we have one item of unfinished business, and that is Council's reconsideration of the Mayor's veto of the Humane Encampment Response Ordinance, which was passed at our final meeting last year on December 11th. I'll ask our clerk to explain the reconsideration procedure for us before we take action on that item. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, as you noted, the mayor did veto the Humane Encampment Response Ordinance and returned that act together with his objections in writing as required by City Charter, pursuant to City Charter Section 4.4C3 and as provided in Council Rule 7.8. An act that's vetoed by the mayor is returned to the City Council for automatic reconsideration at its next meeting. As provided in that rule, the reconsidered act is placed before the body in the same form, without debate and without amendment. And the immediate question to be decided by the council at this point is as follows. Shall the decision of the City Council stand, notwithstanding the veto of the mayor? If at least 2/3 of the council votes in the affirmative, then the mayor's veto is overridden and the original act as passed by council will be adopted. That means an override requires a minimum of at least 9 affirmative votes. Otherwise, the mayor's veto is sustained and the original act fails. With that, Mr. President, I'm ready to call the roll on the motion for reconsideration.
Are there any questions about the procedure for the clerk? Seeing none, to summarize, the motion to reconsider the veto of the Humane Encampment Response Ordinance is before us. To override the veto requires at least 9 affirmative votes. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Nay.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Nay.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Nay.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Nay.
Councilmember Vita.
No.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Nay.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 7 ayes and 6 nays.
That motion fails and the mayor's veto is sustained. The ordinance is not adopted. The next order of business is new business. We have 8 items today that are bypassing our standard legislative process and coming directly to full council for consideration and formal action. I'll call up staff to introduce each item before asking for a motion. Items 1 and 2 are for the acceptance of grants for the health department. For efficiency of them, I'll invite Lisa Brandau, Director of Public Health Initiatives, to introduce both of these items for us, and then open the floor for any questions or clarifications from council. Welcome.
Thank you, President Payne. So there are 2 grant acceptances. The first one, I believe, is the year 4 of the Public Health Infrastructure Grant, which is for foundational capabilities of public health. So that is funding that comes to us directly from the CDC for that work. And the second grant is a Strong Foundations grant that's state funds that come to us for implementation of evidence-based home visiting, family home visiting services. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve agenda items 1 and 2? Is there a second?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items are approved. Items 3 and 4 are grant applications submitted by the Public Works Department. I'll invite Kelly McIntyre, Senior Professional Engineer, to introduce both of these items and see if there are any questions or clarification from council. Welcome.
There are two Met Council grants that we're applying for, or that we would like to apply for. These grants provide funding for projects that reduce inflow and infiltration into the sanitary sewer system, which we call I&I. That is groundwater and stormwater that gets into the sewer system. The goal of removing I&I is to free up capacity in the regional metropolitan council system and treatment plant for growth in the population in the region and treatment plant capacity.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve agenda items 3 and 4?
So moved.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items are approved. Item 5 is a grant extension submitted by the Police Department. I will invite Melissa Russo, Grant Coordinator, to introduce this item. Welcome.
Oh, there we go. This is just an extension of an existing grant. We ran into some delivery issues with parts and vehicles at the end of 2025, which was the ending period of the grant. And so we reached out to the state to do a 4-month extension so that we could finish the upfitting of the vehicles and sale of older vehicles.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll. Well, actually, is there a motion to approve item number 5?
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that item has been approved. Items 6 and 7 are adjustments to salary schedules for the city's non-represented and politically appointed employees. I'll invite Dugan Kern, Principal Compensation and Classification Consultant for the Human Resources Department, to introduce both of these items.
Thank you, President Payne. I do have a slide for your reference. I have 2 items to present related to 2026 salary increases for the non-represented and the politically appointed populations. The numbers that you see to the right in the table here are provided, and they are supplied from the approved budget for 2026. This is the number of people impacted and the total cost of these increases. The proposed increases are 4% for the non-represented population and 2.5% for the politically appointed population. These would be effective January 4th, and the budget numbers here are inclusive of the salary increases, step progression, and longevity.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councilmember Chugtai.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm just wondering, in the past, I've seen this item as affecting 3 groups of non-represented employees, broadly speaking: the politically appointed employees, the non-represented, and then just the appointed officials. And so I'm just wondering if the appointed officials are included in the non-represented section here, and if you are able to speak to that.
The appointed officials are not included in the non-representative.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve item number 6 and 7?
So moved. Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vito.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and those items have been approved. Finally, item 8 is consideration of a resolution calling on the state of Minnesota to enact an eviction moratorium. This item is submitted by Council Members Wansley together with Council Members Osman, Vice President Osman, Council Members Chavez and Stevenson. I'll ask Council Member Wansley to introduce this item for us.
Thank you, President Payne. Colleagues, I know that we will have a public comment before taking up this item, I believe, which is the resolution calling on Governor Walz to enact a eviction moratorium in response to the extreme violent siege occurring in our city and being waged all across our state. But I would just like to briefly share a few thoughts as we begin this discussion. I know many of us here have witnessed the chaos that has been inflicted amongst our communities, our city, and our residents. And many of us have done everything that we can to support our community on the ground, despite the very credible threat of violence being waged by ICE agents who have been just simply terrorizing our communities for just living. I want to also take this opportunity to say thank you to the countless number of residents who have been in the streets protecting our neighbors with nothing more than whistles and their cell phones. Every single one of you who have continued to stand loudly against this violent occupation are true heroes and are demonstrating what loving your community looks like. In just a few days, I have received hundreds of emails, letters of support from community organizations and neighborhood associations, all stating that this is a critical need that will help keep our community safe. And as an elected official, I want to be able to say that I am doing everything I can to fight back against what is happening in our city right now, especially as I see our diverse community working together to take care of one another in response to the state violence we're seeing. Many people who will be speaking here today to give public comment are doing so during their work break or switch neighborhood patrol shifts to be here. So in advance, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here despite everything going on in our city. I also want to acknowledge that there are hundreds of people who are not able to be here today, but support eviction moratorium because they are out patrolling our streets, our schools, bus stops, making sure children can get to their homes safely, making sure people, again, can get to their places of worship safely. Those folks are out helping make our neighborhoods safer, and I want to extend gratitude to you also. They are making sure that the families and residents impacted are able to move at least a little bit more freely around our city, or at least feel an ounce of safety that they are not being given by the agents in our communities, or also where they're not seeing be extended by the elected officials who represent them. So this is, again, an opportunity for us to demonstrate that we are trying to do everything within our council authority to show up for our residents. And I'll share more comments after the public comment, but I just want to say thank you to my colleagues for working with me on this, and I hope to have your support. And with that, I will move this motion for approval.
Second.
This has been moved for approval and seconded. Before we take up the resolution, though, we will have the public comment period. As part of our agenda adoption, we did suspend the rule to permit the acceptance of public comments on this item. So at this point, we will proceed with the public comment period. For
Mr.
all in
Chair,
attendance, oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Palmisano.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. When I was voting on the agenda, I did not realize you were putting in the public comment vote along with the approval of the agenda. I did vote yes on that. I don't wish to. I agree with Councilmember Wansley that there are hundreds of people that would wish to be here today if we were having a real public hearing about this. So I would like us to reconsider that vote for public comment at this time.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, do you have any guidance on this motion to reconsider?
Motion to reconsider has been made by someone who voted with the affirmative, and so that's a proper motion. It's been seconded. The body now would have to consider in its vote whether it wishes to proceed with having the public comment, which we've noticed and already once adopted as part of adopting the agenda. So the vote is to reconsider that motion now. If that motion passes, then the motion would be to adopt the agenda without that provision and move forward with the rest of the agenda as printed.
Okay. I have Vice President Osmond in queue. Do you want to speak to this motion to reconsider, or were you in queue for the prior?
No, for
Okay.
the park.
All right, let's proceed with this motion to reconsider. I won't be supporting this motion to reconsider, but this would require a 2/3 vote to.
This simply requires a majority vote.
Oh, simple majority. Okay. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
No.
Councilmember Warren. Aye. Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Nay.
Councilmember Shugtai.
No.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
No.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Nay.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
No.
President Payne.
Nay.
There are 6 ayes and 7 nays.
That motion fails, and we will continue to proceed with the public comment period.
I was going to make a comment, but I might not stay.
I'll recognize Vice President Osmond.
Thank you, Council President. I do want to hear from the resident that came. Thank you so much for being here. There's over 30 or 40 members that signed up, the public that came to testify. But I do want to make my comment. I might not be here at the end of the meeting, so I pick up my kids. I do want to say that, as we just ended the press conference, that, people in our city, especially immigrant communities, are very scared to go out to work, to go out shopping. I don't know if you have visited on Lake Street and Franklin. Businesses are closed. They have been closed. And what we're asking, it's very simple thing. We're asking the Governor Walz to pass this moratorium and make sure that he is standing up for our residents. Governor Walz is the only person with the power to pass this resolution. I would like to tell Governor Tim Walz that history will document to you, the history will write you a time where authoritarian government, as I call it, under Donald Trump, are coming and terrorizing our most vulnerable residents, people from my community that went through refugee, that went through civil war, that came here for safety. Now they don't know where to escape. They are scared to go out. They're being snatched. This is the same people that went through the process of vetting process, the legal way as they call it. There are people with refugee status that are being taken away from my community, Somali community, Afghan community, Latino. So many people are being scared. We know what's happening in the city of Minneapolis. So I'm calling the Governor Walz to do something. History will write you, what have you done when the communities are being terrorized? Enough with the press reaction, but we need some action here. We have not received business support. The communities that are bringing economy, the heart of Lake Street and Franklin, we have not got any support from business community that are struggling. COVID time, you stood up, you have done great work to address some of the challenges that we face, but now this is our COVID, this is immigrant COVID. So I'm hoping that you will listen to our city council members and our city, and we are asking the statewide moratorium to folks that are not able to pay their rent. And I hope that you will listen to the leaders that represent money of your constituents. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, President Payne. I will try to keep my remarks brief because I want to get to the public comment, and I'll probably have some comments afterwards. I just want to ground us in the moment that we're in. We wouldn't be calling for an eviction moratorium if it wasn't an emergency, right? The very nature of an eviction moratorium shows up when there is a state of emergency called by the governor, and I think it's very apparent to constituents, to residents, to the world that's watching the city of Minneapolis and Minnesota at large, because we've seen horrific actions happen at the hands of ICE in Richfield, St. Cloud, Mankato as well, that we are in an emergency. Last night, I was on the ground at 24th and Lyndale over there to just make sure that people were okay, to observe. And it was another inflection point where a community member, a Latino person, was shot. And that's another dramatic moment of escalation. And we don't know what happens next, right? Today, as a council member, as a daughter of immigrants, I have a whistle around my neck, and in my coat pocket, I have my passport. That is not the regular moment of peacetime. And I commend all Minnesotans, all Minneapolis residents that are showing up, that are leaning in and doing whatever is possible. You are all being asked to do way more than you should ever have to be asked to do. But I thank you for your resilience and your grit. And we, as elected officials, local leaders, have a very important role to play. And that's why I think this call for an eviction moratorium is serious. And I think the council members who are authoring it also understand that it is rare to call for something like this, right? This is not an everyday thing to call for an eviction moratorium. The reason why we're calling for it is because many community members have lost significant amount of their income. They do not feel safe. They have seen their families torn apart. They are trying to shelter in place, but they're being forced to go out and work to make sure that they aren't displaced in a moment where it is so dangerous to be displaced. And our neighbors who are able to go out and work and show up, they understand when they're on the ground and they're talking to their immigrant neighbors how fragile, how precarious things are for people right now. And so local government, our role, one thing that we can do in this moment where we aren't able to tell the federal government to stop, where we can't control these ICE agents as council members, is make sure that people have the means to protect themselves and stay inside. And a part of that is making sure that they do not get kicked out of the rental unit where they are staying because of non-payment of rent. And also, people aren't trying to avoid paying rent. People are crowdfunding. There's mutual aid drives happening in every single school site in the city of Minneapolis. In a high school in my ward, they know that they have to raise $20,000 to $50,000, and they're doing it consistently. People are still trying to pay their rent and make it happen. But sometimes it's not going to happen on time. Sometimes it's not going to be enough. And we want to make sure that people aren't kicked out of where they're living so they aren't made even more vulnerable. Housing is always a human right. But right now, it is an even greater necessity for people. It is people's safety. It is people's anchor. And so I am really grateful that my colleagues are bringing this forward. I stand in a united front with them. I appreciate the work of the governor so far. I think we're at a different point now where we need to take more steps and we need to escalate in terms of how we're addressing people's basic needs. As Minnesotans, as Minneapolis, that's our duty. And with that, I would love to be added as a co-author if the council members will have me. I'm seeing a nod. So thank you, I appreciate it. And to all of those that showed up in such short notice to come and speak at City Hall, I really appreciate you. I think it's important that we have this public comment. And to my colleagues, I think this is something we can lean on together, right? It's timely. Our city's been through a lot. This is one of the first meetings we're having as an organized body. Let's hear from our people. And hey, if we need to have more public comments and we need to put out a hearing that's noticed, let's do it, because we gotta just continue to hear from our constituents so we can do the best job possible for them.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I asked my colleagues support this resolution and that we have the governor do everything that he can to protect our neighbors. I know that many of us here today have been hearing from so many of our neighbors asking government to step up and do what they can to protect our immigrant neighbors. I won't let you all know the type of calls that I get every day, not just people from Ward 9, but Latino neighbors from across the city of Minneapolis, in the suburbs, in greater Minnesota, and in the state. Folks don't want to go outside and have to pray that they're not going to get stopped by ICE. When I ask my neighbors to stay home, to shelter in place, the number one thing they ask me is saying, Jason, why am I going to stay home? How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to afford the groceries? How are you expecting me to change my whole life to then eventually get kicked out of my rental unit? So now you have our immigrant neighbors driving to work, and I was talking about this earlier, shaking as they're holding their wheel and praying to God that they're going to make it to work and then make it back home to see their beautiful children. This is not normal. It's not normal to be in this country and to literally have your family torn apart just because of the color of your skin, because that is actually what is happening here in Minneapolis and in this state. The color of your skin is what is being targeted by the federal immigration authorities. And one of the things that we need to do and need to figure out is how do we address the symptoms of what is happening in this country. So ICE is literally following vehicles, breaking down windows, stopping people on highways on their way to work, on their way to dropping off their kids to school, at daycares, and tearing them out of their cars. That is one of the number one ways that they are doing this work today. So how do we help address that issue? We help people stay at home. We have to call for an eviction moratorium, and in the city of Minneapolis, we need to do what we can to make sure that people can shelter in place at home because they are safer at home. And that is one of the things that neighbors would love to do, but can't because they still have to pay their bills. And they're stressed about how they're gonna stay in their home without getting evicted. So, I think that our neighbors in Minneapolis have totally risen up to the occasion. They have literally crowdfunded fundraisers. They have provided their neighbors with food. They drop them off in their front yards. They drive their neighbors to work. They don't sleep at all. But you also know who's not sleeping? When they see a random car on their street, it would just might be someone else on the street, our immigrant neighbors. They see a car on their street and they're scared. So imagine how they feel when they're going to work, when any random car is just following them. So I'll say that our neighbors have totally risen up to the occasion, and it's time for us as government to support our neighbors as well. This is one thing that we can do today, but it's not the only thing we should be doing. Because when we have a federal government that does not care about our neighbors, it is up to local government to be the front line of defense, the way our neighbors are literally putting their lives on the line. So I hope that this could be unanimous.
Councilmember Warren.
Sorry. Sustainability for family is something that's very important to me, but I'm having a very difficult time understanding how this will sustain our families for the long term. We know that ICE is toxic. We know what's happening in our community is extremely toxic, but this does not sustain our families for the long term. If they're not able to go to work today or tomorrow or next month, what does sustainability truly look like? Are we bailing out property owners? What about overhead and utilities? Other things that we have to take into consideration, and the fact that we're still overcoming from the last moratorium that we just had during COVID. There's bigger pictures here, and there's more plans that need to be made to build mutual aid to help sustain families different. This doesn't spell out safety, success, and long-term. It's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. This is bigger than us.
Seeing no one else left in queue, I will proceed to the public comment period. For all in attendance, and especially for those wishing to offer testimony. Oh, Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to make sure it's clear what's happening here today, that this is a resolution that is, excuse me, that is for the governor to consider. That the Minneapolis City Council is literally doing nothing but sending the governor a greeting card to say, can you please consider the things we want on this paper? I think there's been a lot of confusion in my office with people calling and emailing and approaching me and asking for a moratorium on evictions, and that's not what's happening here today. I just want us to be clear about that. This is literally something that will be sent to the governor saying, we would like for you to consider this as the Minneapolis City Council, and not any action being taken here today. So people, I'm grateful that people are here to speak. I don't think it's fair that, everyone wasn't given notice enough to come down and speak, but they're going to have a chance to speak. But they're not speaking to us doing any action today. This is just to pass this resolution for the governor to then hopefully take action. Can somebody clarify that for me on the record, please?
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, the summary that Councilmember Vita just gave is absolutely correct. This is a formal act by the body asking the state government, the state of Minnesota, and our governor, Tim Walz, to consider and take appropriate action in response to this resolution. It is a formalized request adopted by the body, but no formal action by this body.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I also would hope that, colleagues will put out information to their constituents and let them know that there is no moratorium on rent. So people are not confused and think that whatever action we're taking today and whatever shows up on social media, that they are still responsible to their landlord for rent unless something like that happens, because that is not what we're voting on here today. And I also, I'll just leave it at that. I just really hope that we all put out proper information so that people understand the action that is taken here today, and that they are still responsible for their rent until the governor or whomever does something differently.
And then, Mr. Clerk, can you also speak to public notice for today's public hearing?
Mr. President, the open meeting law requires a sufficient notice based on both types of meetings and specific actions that are taken. This is a meeting that was added to the calendar, an interim calendar adopted by the council last year to cover the potential for time-sensitive business, which we have done. This item is added to that. However, we added the notice to the public as part of the published agenda that there would be a public comment period if approved by the council through its rules, which it was, so that there is adequate notice to the full community. So when that agenda was posted on Tuesday in LIMS and made available to the public, that notice was given that there was the potential for a public comment period attached to this item.
Thank you for clarifying that. Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you for this moment to share my thoughts. From the outset, let me state clearly that I stand with this council, as we did last Wednesday, the mayor and the residents of our great city in calling for an immediate withdrawal from ICE from our streets, and to an end of the attacks that are being made on our rights, our freedoms, and our way of life. We love Minneapolis. We love our immigrant neighbors regardless of their legal status. An attack on them is an attack on all of us. Their safety is our safety, and I am committed to doing everything within our power to stand in solidarity with them in this moment. I also want to name the fear that so many of our city are living in right now, particularly immigrants and communities of color. People are afraid, as we've stated already, afraid to leave their homes, go to work, take their kids to school, or seek medical care. This is not what our country is about. These are our neighbors, and this fear is shaping every part of their daily lives. At this very moment, we are facing deeply alarming threats from federal leaders, including statements invoking the Insurrection Act. The actions of ICE are already harming severely the everyday lives of Minneapolis families, students, workers, parents, and business owners. Such unprecedented attacks call for unprecedented acts of care. While I am not confident that this resolution will achieve its aims, I appreciate that this resolution, as amended, doesn't just impose the burden of cost of standing up to ICE on tenants or housing providers exclusively, but assures that the costs will be more evenly distributed. Regardless of how the governor responds, what this moment demands most are grassroots, rapid, on-the-ground responses to this unfolding crisis. This is a United We Stand moment. My focus tomorrow, the next day, and going forward is on making an immediate and tangible differences for residents in my ward and across the city who are experiencing fear, instability, and financial hardship because they do not feel safe leaving their homes. This includes pooling resources, distributing food, providing financial emergency assistance, and other basic supports at the grassroots, hyper-local level, working directly with trusted community leaders and neighborhood networks to get help to people quickly, with dignity and without unnecessary barriers. This is where we can act immediately. This is where we can reduce harm right now. And this is how we stand up for the values that define our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Schaefer. Councilmember Wanzi, you're in queue. I'm wondering if you would be willing to hold your comments until after the public hearing so we can make sure folks get enough time to speak?
Sure.
Okay. All right. With that, let's move to the public comment period. For all in attendance, and especially for those wishing to offer testimony, either as a registered speaker or by submitting written comments, let me offer this notice. This public meeting is being recorded and broadcast. The broadcast meeting is live. It's a live stream of these proceedings, and the broadcast and recording are deemed public data under the Minnesota Government Data Practices Act. By attending this meeting and participating in these proceedings, your image and testimony or information that you provide will also be subject to disclosure under the law. That includes, but is not limited to, your attendance, your name, and other personal details you provide, your testimony or comments, whether formal or otherwise, and any written submissions you make which are included in the record of this meeting. If you plan to address the council, please note that we will be taking speakers in order registered. If you have not registered yet but would like to speak, speakers can register with the clerks outside of room 392, which is our overflow space just over that way. Every speaker has been assigned a speaker number. We will be calling speakers both by their assigned number and by name. If you plan to speak as part of this hearing and haven't already registered, you may do so now. Each registered speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the council. We have a timer available to help speakers monitor the use of their time, just over there. We ask that you wrap up your comments when your time is expired so that we can accommodate all speakers this evening. We also ask everyone to be respectful of all speakers and of all opinions offered. If you have written comments or materials to submit, please give those to the clerks at the registration table, and those will be included for the public record. We also have printed comment forms available at the registration table if you'd like to submit a comment on this proposal and have that included in the public record. I also would encourage everyone to take advantage of submitting your comments in other ways. The easiest way to submit your comments and to ensure that they are added to the public record is to send those from the city's website at minneapolismn.gov/public comment. With that, we're ready to open the floor for public comment. So far, we have 40 speakers registered for today's hearing. I will call speakers in groups of 5 by their registered number. If you are in the overflow space, please proceed to the chamber as we approach your number. The first 5 speakers we have registered to provide public comments are Natalie Cherney, Patrick Berry, Heather Miller, Cecil Smith, and Seamus McNamara. I will now recognize speaker number 1, Natalie. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Natalie Cherney. I live in Ward 9. I hope some of you guys get elected. I'm vice chair of the Minneapolis DFL. Since ICE has taken over our city, my life has changed. This morning I was driving 3 kids to school, and they asked, is ICE going to target my school? And I couldn't tell them yes or no, because you see, I've protected schools. Last week after Renee Good was shot, my friend called me in a panic, and she said, Natalie, I need you to come to my school today. 3 ICE vehicles drove by her school, and I chased them down. I had my windows down. I did laps around her school, and I thought to myself, is this the day I get shot? In my journal, I wrote letters to my parents and to my friends. Just in case letters, I call them. I've been delivering groceries and driving neighbors to work. I've ridden in patrols in Powderhorn. I've assembled Know Your Rights kits. I say this not because I am doing anything better. I'm any better than those of you who are sitting in front of me. I say this because I am a brown woman. I am afraid. I called my mom last week, and she said, Anak, that means child in Tagalog. Do you have your passport? And I said, Mom, I don't have $250 to get a passport. And she said, I'll pay for it. You see, my brother died 10.5 years ago. I'm the only child they have left. In the letters I wrote to my parents, I said, I don't want to die. But if I die because I'm defending kids from ICE, so be it. I leave you with this. I love this city. I love this country. We need to do everything we can to protect our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will welcome up Patrick Berry, number 2. Bernie.
Hello, my name is Patrick Berry. I live in Stevens Square community, and I came out of the homeless camps of this town. Absolutely, I did. And I'm not here to speak with you about a whole lot of drama and personal things like that, because we're all feeling it deep inside, are we not? One side or the other. I've heard this Band-Aid on a bullet wound. That's a poor choice of words, considering that a woman is dead. We don't need a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. What this is a 7th-generation combat application tourniquet, a chest seal, and a rear seal, which is something that I have to carry because of the world that we now live in. The lack of response to the housing, the lack of response to the unsheltered crisis, and all of these other issues are part of what's driving the reactionary accelerationism that is driving our democracy into the ground. It is providing the reactionary talking points for people to attack this city and to invade us illegally, unconstitutionally. Frankly, that's on all of you, regardless of your ideologies. I'm asking you to go ahead to the extent that you can, all of you. And again, with the last moratorium, we saw protections applied to the unsheltered residents of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota. This is absolutely crucially important for reasons that I don't have to repeat for the millionth time. I got up off the streets. None of you did that for me. None of you helped me with that, frankly, respectfully. I did it myself. I did it with the help of community, and we are growing. We are not locked into your election cycles, your economic cycles, and your news cycles. We are building a movement based in coherency, and we are radiating that coherency from the micro to the macro. I strongly suggest that you start heeding the people instead of the special interest groups and the gentrification occurring, and figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3, Heather Miller.
Hello. Before I begin, I just wanted to state that the size of this room is a disservice to your constituents and the crowd of people who was gathered downstairs, a 30-person capacity with yourselves included. Egregious. Okay, anyways, I am here to speak on behalf of the Stonebridge World School staff who sent a statement. So to the City Council of Minneapolis, we are writing to you as a staff from Stonebridge World School to share our concern over our students' families during this emergency in our city. We ask that the governor enact an eviction moratorium. Stonebridge's community is small and diverse, and we work closely with families. It is important as educators that we listen to our students' needs. Today, the families of our students told us that they are in need of over $20,000. We're raising funds for rent, food, basic necessities, and plane tickets to reunify families that have been separated. The community has come together during this time with an outpouring of assistance to meet these needs, but this is not an effective long-term solution. Stonebridge staff and families need the Minneapolis City Council to address these needs and allow for our community to safely shelter in place as needed. We urge you to consider that our families need long-term rental assistance and stability. Please respond with the urgency that our students deserve. Sincerely, Stonebridge World School staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have number 4, Cecil Smith, followed by Seamus McNamara, and I will read off the next 5 speakers, which are Todd Fitzgerald, number 6, Ivy Letourneau, number 7, Mitchell Hansen, number 8, Eileen King, number 9, and Kristen Eldridge, number 10. We will welcome up number 4, Cecil Smith.
Council President, members of the Council, my name is Cecil Smith. I reside in Ward 1, and I'm President and CEO of the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. I appreciate the opportunity to testify today. MHA is strongly opposed to the policy put forward in this resolution. An eviction moratorium is not a solution. The damage done far outweighs any perceived benefits. We learned what happens in an eviction moratorium from the COVID-19 experience. Renters get so far behind that they cannot catch up despite rental assistance. And we currently do not have enough rental assistance available to even support this policy. Furthermore, whatever government procedure results from this policy, renters are potentially exposed on a publicly available list. Think that through if you're trying to assist renters. Deeply interventionist policies such as an eviction moratorium and rent control have chilling effects on capital flows to our market. A market that needs significant capital to build the housing we need in our community. Even this discussion is damaging our ability to attract resources for future development. If an eviction moratorium happens, the greatest stress will be felt by our affordable housing providers, who have not yet recovered from the first moratorium and are now in a financially weak position. They will need financial support to survive this policy. This is not the solution for the challenge before us. Please think again and consult broadly with all the partners so that we can support those who are struggling right now. Thank you.
Next, we will welcome number 5, Seamus McNamara.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Seamus McNamara. I'm a constituent of Ward 9. I'm a recent resident of Minneapolis and a member of the Twin Cities Tenants. I came to the city 3 years ago after landlord's favoritism left me homeless and living in my car in Chicago. I was working at UPS, essentially living in the warehouse parking lot. This led me, like many other displaced Chicagoans, to move to the cities in greater Minnesota. I moved here looking to start over, only to find the same gentrification that pushed so many people out is hungry for more houses to flip. I pay $1,000 for a roach nest of an apartment, while my new landlords ignore my request for pest control in favor of renovation to the unit that was vacated. The abuse of my neighbors, both housed and unhoused, has been going on long before ICE was in our city. The fact that it took a video murder of Renee Good in broad daylight for you to say that this is unacceptable is frankly infuriating. ICE and other right-wing groups have been terrorizing our most vulnerable community members since long before this operation. They are coming for our most marginalized communities, first trans, queer, BIPOC, immigrant, homeless, and disabled. Now, I might not look like those most affected by these policies, but to me, solidarity is not a four-letter word. It is an everyday action. It is these communities who took me in when I was homeless and showed me the way to survive and when the world doesn't even know you exist. I applaud the call for an eviction moratorium, but I push for it to be further reaching than just simply saying no evictions. Landlords do not obey the law unless they are forced to. They will evict simply on a whim. Today, you are a tenant, tomorrow you are on the street. Expand this moratorium with its clause to include a moratorium on all encampment evictions within the state of Minnesota, an added clause to keep ICE and excessive law enforcement presence out of the encampments, protect and house our community members who need us more now than ever. We deserve a city to protect life, dignity, and safety, and we refuse to settle for less.
Thank you. Next, we will welcome up number 6, Todd Fitzgerald.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Fitzgerald, and I live in Ward 5. The brutality of ICE and the murder of Renee Good is on everyone's mind today, and the time has come for this council to take action. The presence of ICE here is not law enforcement, but a vicious campaign that violates our constitutional rights. Homes have been entered without judicial warrants, peaceful protesters have been arrested without charge, and violence has been routinely used against anyone these thugs come across. What are you going to do about it? Our governor has suggested that we look to the voting booth and the courts to resolve these issues. However, Election Day is 11 months away, and the president's hand-picked Supreme Court declared him a king in their 2024 ruling of Trump versus the United States. We are on our own. So what are you going to do about it? I acknowledge the difficulty of a city standing up to the federal government, but that should only inspire our creativity. I would recommend that our snowplows should dump snow to block the roads to the Whipple building and any staging areas to prevent these thugs from launching violent raids on our city. Also, our traffic laws apply to everyone. Minneapolis officers should be ordered to keep our streets safe by ticketing anyone going 31 and a 30, using a cell phone while driving, or not wearing a seatbelt. Make it personally expensive for anyone who comes here to attack our community. Every moment ICE is delayed will mean the difference between our rights not being trampled on, families being together at the end of the day, and our neighbors not being murdered. If officers refuse to do this or look the other way, they should be reprimanded and fired for abandoning our city. Then volunteers should be vetted and deputized to enforce traffic laws and given a path to becoming sworn officers for stepping up in this crisis. The actions of ICE is what the Gestapo looks like in the 21st century. They are here in our city. What are you going to do about it? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ivy Letourneau, number 7.
Hi, Ivy Letourneau. I live in Ward 3. I know some of you know what's going on in our city because you're out there, because you're organizing, because you're hearing it directly from your constituents. And the rest of you, you know about it now because people have come here to tell you. It's out there for you to hear about if you're willing to look. There's a militarized force terrorizing our city, your constituents, like our neighbors. And it is the most ordinary people in our city who are putting their bodies on the line to stand up for each other. And, whether it's for this resolution today or anything else that's going to come up while this is going on in Minneapolis, I just want you to think about what are you doing that does any justice, that honors your constituents in terms of what your response is, right? There are people who will be here to remind you at your next town hall or, at the next protest or, even in 2029, right? We'll ask you that question, but most of all, 20, 30 years from now, when your kids, your grandkids, your biographers, when they ask you and when you look at yourself in the mirror, Like, what is your answer going to be to what did I do with the power I had at the time it mattered most? Are you going to be morally at peace with what you have to look yourself in the mirror and admit to? What are you going to do with the power that you have? There's not going to be any time like now. I mean, this is it. What are you going to do?
Next up, we have number 8, Mitchell Hansen.
Hello, I'm Mitchell Hansen. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was really hoping that there'd be more unity overall on this council. Some people here surprised me, some didn't. But I'm still happy that, why, you know what's not political? People who are facing homelessness, you think it's political to them? Being in the street, in the mayor, what he just vetoed, basically treating people humanely. So what, you want these people to end up homeless and then treat them like crap like you already do? Like, people in Harrison can't leave their place just like everywhere else around the city. People are literally being threatened by ICE saying, didn't you learn your lesson? You want people to what? Just because it's not perfect, we're not going to do it? That's one of the reasons we don't have it fully planned out. Landlords were happy to take rent when it was free and just like, here you go. But suddenly, this guy from South Africa wants to tell us that it's a terrible idea. That's be bad for business. I don't care. I want people to stay in their houses, in their apartments. If you're going to vote no on this, wow, how would you be able to sleep at night? You're going to tell your constituents, forget it. You know what? And once you're homeless, we're going to bulldoze you. And do you laugh about this? Do you enjoy it? Like, I was hoping that this council could be like, yeah, all we're doing here is just bringing it to Tim Walz to make a decision. That's all we're doing. And I know some people here probably would wish that something would happen to me because you have made life so political over things that aren't. This is just basic common sense here. People have a right to stay in their place and not get murdered. Like, that's what you're saying? You're saying no, forget it. I don't even want to try because it's not perfect, because we don't have 100 people here. I'm shocked. I want to help people stay in their homes. I'm good at it. If you give us the resources we need, we can do this job. What is the concern? I know there's the business concern, but do you really just want us all gone? Don't tell me you care about immigrants and then vote no on this. You don't know my God. Thank you. Gracias. Mahat Sanid.
Number 9 is Eileen King.
Good afternoon. My name is Eileen King. I'm a constituent in Ward 10. And if my voice shakes, it's because I don't want to be doing this. But I'm doing it anyway because I can't not speak up on behalf of people I care deeply about who aren't able to safely come here today for themselves. I've been doing direct support for nearly 6 years of people living outdoors and in encampments, and of several friends who have transitioned out of living in camps and cars. I've sat under bridges in the rain. I've given late night rides to shelters. I've helped distribute hundreds of thousands of meals. And I've taped tent poles together in the dark in sub-zero temperatures. And I say that not to brag, but for context. I'm not here as a preachy white liberal. I'm here from a place of deep solidarity with my neighbors who carry unfathomable lifelong trauma from lacking safe places to be. The resolution before us is in direct response to increased threats on our Black and Brown and Native and Latinx and immigrant neighbors, and I affirm the urgency behind taking that action. But we also know that those same groups are disproportionately likely to experience homelessness for the same structural reasons that they're under direct attack right now. We're all well aware that we have neighbors who aren't leaving their homes right now, but that's not just people who are hunkered down in houses and apartments. It's also neighbors who aren't leaving tents to obtain food and life-saving warmth. There is no justice for neighbors who are under threat without justice for all of our neighbors who are under threat. Eviction is the euphemism that we seem to have chosen for the city violently bulldozing our neighbors' temporary shelters. How then can we consider an eviction moratorium that doesn't include those people, that doesn't include stopping the sweeps? Evict ICE, not us, means all of us. Minneapolis has the opportunity to lead here in genuine solidarity with all neighbors who are under threat, not just with the ones who are currently living indoors. We therefore call on the council to take that stand, to call for a moratorium not just on evictions of rental housing, but of encampments as well. We can build a city that protects all of us. We deserve that, and we won't settle for less. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is number 10, Kristen Eldridge. And on deck, the next 5 are Bob Goonan, Clyde Warren, Dex Anderson, Liam Casey, and Eli Sherman. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you for your courage, council members. I am a Ward 4 resident, and I am an employee of a majority minority city who is also vulnerable to ICE and the actions that have happened in the city of Minneapolis. I am calling for a statewide eviction moratorium and a letter to Governor Walz. Council members, folks are scared to travel, to do groceries. ICE is showing up in our most vulnerable places where people should feel safe. Minneapolis has always led the charge as an example for surrounding communities, and I urge the council and Governor Walz to stand for his constituents when the federal government has abandoned us. As a principal city, we have a lot of influence on the state. Please keep our families in their homes and safe from homelessness and the terror of ICE. I'm proud of the city residents for standing up to fascism, but our electeds have not shown the same courage at the state. In times like this, courage should be easy. It should be an easy yes to send a resolution to Governor Walz. It's kind of ludicrous to have to send a letter, honestly. Please vote to protect immigrants from eviction and keep a barrier between them and ICE. I want to call out Ward 4 representative and also Ward 5. You said this was a time to come together. We shouldn't need attorneys to protect Ward 4 right now. We need solutions that are swift and direct. Sign the letterhead to Governor Walz, please. Lastly, to Minnesota multi-housing, if you don't have renters, you won't have any development. So please, sign the letter. That's easy.
Thank you. Number 11, Bob Goonan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Goonan. I'm a resident of North Minneapolis in Ward 4. I'm going to shorten my comments a bit about what ICE is doing to our community because there seems to be general agreement about that, but not on what your responsibility as council members is to do about it. Our immigrant community members are living in fear. We know that ICE uses advanced surveillance technology to identify, to track, and to target them. Documented or undocumented, citizen or not, they are all living under military occupation. Like many community members, I have asked myself, what can I do? Like tens of thousands, I have attended protests since ICE murdered Renee Good, but I am also taking part in the mutual aid networks that residents have set up to provide direct material support to these families. Like waiting with the children of immigrant families at school bus stops, driving the children to and from school, picking up and delivering groceries and medicine, often paying out of their own pockets because the parents cannot go out, cannot work, and they are running out of money. But these mutual aid networks cannot cover the cost of rent. There has to be a larger system solution in place to address that problem, and that is where a statewide eviction moratorium must come in. But it is on you as city council members and on Mayor Frey to do something more than talk. And I repeat, words are not enough. You need to do your part and you need to act. Calling on others to do mutual aid is not enough. Pass this eviction moratorium resolution. Keep our immigrant neighbors in their homes until this crisis passes. Thank you.
Number 12, Clyde Warren.
My name is Clyde Warren. I am a renter in Minneapolis and a member of the IPG Tenant Union. I'm here today representing myself, my union members, and thousands of local renters who are joining the call for an eviction moratorium. The people of Minnesota are experiencing a growing invasion of federal agents carrying out a racist, violent crackdown targeting our immigrant neighbors. My neighbors are living in fear of abduction, kidnapping, and deportation. Thousands of immigrants have been sheltering in place and not leaving their homes for weeks and weeks. Whether or not people have legal status, a work permit, or even citizenship, all immigrants are terrified right now. These agents have shown again and again that they don't care about any of us, our children or our rights. I want to be sure that this city council understands the kinds of horrible decisions families have to make in the absence of intervention. Across the city, immigrants are relying on their neighbors and their fellow parents to take their kids to the bus stop because they are afraid of getting kidnapped by masked and violent agents on the way. Then they have to call in sick to work, missing pay, because they need to make sure that when another parent walks their child home at 3:30 p.m., it won't be to an empty house. People are doing what any one of us would do in crisis, sacrificing their paychecks, their health, and their rent money to try and keep their family together, no matter the cost. This is not the story of just one person. This is reality for hundreds and hundreds of our neighbors. How can families living paycheck to paycheck pay rent in these conditions? What we're seeing is economic harm being pushed onto our people through this racist immigration enforcement, while housing courts and eviction processes operate like nothing has changed.
Thank you. Next, number 13, Dex Anderson. Welcome.
Lucky number 13. Hi, my name is Dex Anderson. My pronouns are they, them. I am a resident of Ward 10. And good, Linnea came back in time to hear this because apparently she didn't want to hear public comment today, but I think she should listen. I work for a disability advocacy organization, but I'm here speaking in my personal capacity as a private citizen. However, in that work, I am much more aware of the impact of ICE on disabled Minnesotans. The disability services sector is largely populated by immigrant workers. It's BIPOC people who are helping people with disabilities with their care tasks, with going to the doctor, with their needs that they have. And people with disabilities who are immigrants are likewise doubly impacted by this because when they go to the doctor, they're afraid that ICE is going to be there in the emergency room or in the waiting room, waiting to pick them up. And we've already seen how ICE treats people with disabilities with the lady with autism who also has a TBI who was brutalized by ICE just this week. Many of these workers are afraid to go to work, which means that people with disabilities who are served by these workers are not receiving care. They are not able to get to the doctor. They are not able to get their medication and the care that they need, which greatly impacts their quality of life and their ability to live. Additionally, disabled people of color don't feel safe in the city. And they are unable to move and run when ICE shows up. They often cannot drive, so they are relying on transport of friends and family who are also at risk. That is why an eviction moratorium is needed at the state level, because these people are already on a knife's edge and on a precipice. And if we don't do something, we will see many more disabled people become unhoused here in Minnesota. We cannot mutual aid our way out of this. Thank you. Fuck ICE.
Thank you. Number 14, Liam Casey.
My name is Liam, and I live in North Minneapolis. I was born in Alaska, moved to California, Texas for 11 years, all before our family decided to settle down in Minnesota. I've lived and grown up in Minnesota over a decade, and here in this city for 6 years. I call Minnesota home. I'm a citizen of this country, a country founded on ideals of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for all. Recently, these have simultaneously come under attack from our own federal government. ICE officers act with brutish impunity, smug attitudes, and acting as if this country and the laws are theirs to interpret and enforce. Pay attention, council member. There are lots of police officers who act with this same attitude, and I see this attitude with some of the council members as well. Why is it that when I'm exercising my First Amendment right peacefully and following all orders and in line with my pursuit of happiness, I am shot in the head with rubber bullets, CS gas deployed en masse, and witnessing disgusting uses of forces with most encounters? A kid's heart stopped yesterday from inhaling too much CS gas. This does not have to happen to enforce immigration. Here are means citizens have for protection when standing up for inalienable rights is still something you can't separate yourself from. This helmet to prevent my skull from taking lethal damage by non-lethal shot by agents. A gas mask to protect my lungs from what is a war crime. Goggles to protect my vision and earplugs to protect my hearing from LRADs that they have deployed. Rubber bullet was... I saw a video of a kid getting blinded by a rubber bullet when he got shot in the face from 3 feet away. Here's a hat. I urge the council to sniff the hat and show their support for the American people. It is coated with the remnants of CS gas.
Thank you.
Please show your support and solidarity. Make a decision that actually counts for people.
Thank you. We need to recognize number 15, Eli Sherman. On deck is number 16, Sarah Ormson. Number 17, Leif Greena. Number 18, Jeanette Corselius. Number 19, Lawrence Williams. And number 20, Junizi Saleh. Number 15, Eli Sherman. Thank you.
Thank you, President Payne. If we wanted to avoid public comments on this issue, it could have been adopted by unanimous consent. But we're here talking about it. Why? This is the most basic thing we can do to show support and solidarity with our community right now. I hear a lot of concern for landlords and for business interests and for capital and, well, what'll happen to the money? I don't really care. I don't think a lot of people really care right now what happens to the money. Oh, Councilmember Rainbow, I am a Ward 3 resident, and if you don't want to answer my emails, you might want to listen to me now. Thank you. I urge you to put your priorities in a different order. Put the residents of this city above capital. Put the residents of this city above landlords. We need help right now. We are all out here defending ourselves. I don't hear these same arguments about fiscal responsibility when it comes to the Minneapolis Police Department being $20 million over budget. Nobody seems to care about that. And you know what? What do we get for that money? We get a police force that stands by and watches the populace be brutalized and gassed with things that are not allowed by the Geneva Convention in other countries, but they're allowed here on protesters. I stand with our immigrant community and everybody who is afraid that this modern Gestapo might pick them up and take them somewhere, whether you're an observer or someone who is at risk. And I challenge you that if you don't have the courage to meet this moment and send a resolution up to Tim Walz that you don't even have to do anything about, you just have to pass the buck. This is like your thing. I urge you, if you don't have the courage to stand for our neighbors, step down and let somebody who will do it.
Number 16, Sarah Ormson.
My name is Sarah Ormson. I live in Northeast Minneapolis. I'm a public health nurse and a mental health nurse. I'm calling it for an eviction moratorium that includes our unhoused neighbors. We cannot allow our city to displace our neighbors in encampments, just like we cannot allow ICE to displace our neighbors. The care that we provide to the most vulnerable in our city sets a precedent to what is acceptable by the federal government and ICE that is currently ripping our city apart. It is a major health risk for anyone to be outside right now in the freezing cold, tear gas, lethals, and bullets in the air. We can't allow evictions to weaken our community right now. Stopping evictions of encampments is the least we can do after the veto of the humane encampment response. Displacing unhoused residents makes it incredibly hard for outreach nurses, social workers to reach patients who are at an increased risk of being harmed by ICE. This is a public health emergency, and keeping our community safe and healthy starts with housing for everyone and halting all evictions.
Number 17, Leif Greena.
Members of the council, my name's Leif Greena.
I'm the president of the Minneapolis Regional Retirees Council, a constituent body of the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation. I am 73 years old. Being 73, I am part of the cohort that is the largest demographic experiencing homelessness in the United States. 40% of people on Social Security only have that as a source of income. And out of that, I pay a premium every month for Medicare. ICE's reign of terror does not discriminate based on age, only race. They don't care how old you are. They don't care who you are. They will come after you regardless. Absent action by the city council and the governor, you will have more homeless people. Elderly people who are working because Social Security can't pay the bills and who now cannot work will lose their homes because they cannot pay rent. It's obvious. I want to remind you of the words of Frederick Douglass. Power concedes nothing without a demand. This resolution is a demand on the power of the governor in the state of Minnesota to act on behalf of its people. I urge you to support making that demand. Thank you.
Next, we have Jeanette Corselius.
Greetings. My name is Jeanette Corselius. I work in Minneapolis as a union and community organizer. I am a member of OPEIU Local 12, Office Professionals Employees International Union, and I am a proud member of the Twin Cities Democratic Socialists of America. I am also a delegate to the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation. All three organizations have signed on to the eviction moratorium ordinance. Our most vulnerable Minnesotans have not been able to work or leave their homes in 6 weeks because we are under siege by our federal government. Every day, I wake up to a nightmare and I can barely sleep at night. I'm constantly on my phone, making sure that we have patrols around our schools, making sure that our neighbors have food to eat every day. I'm stressed. I am a daughter of an immigrant. I cannot imagine how immigrants who have newly come to this country feel right now. Many of them are thinking about fleeing Minnesota. If we care about our neighbors, we will stand up for them. More and more students are not showing up to school. They're choosing the virtual option. I'm asking every single one of you to take a stand, show some empathy. Be leaders in this moment because the mayor will not. The governor will not. Take a stand or be forever remembered as enemies of the people. Think about 50 years from now, if we're all alive, what will we be remembered as in the history books? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Lawrence Williamson.
Lawrence, Ward 8. 2 days ago, I was detained for a number of hours at the Whipple Federal Building. You can see my scratch still. And while I was there, I was walked past a long line of Latino men in shackles. These are breadwinners and providers for families in our community, and they are being put on planes and flown to camps. That is where we are. So let me be abundantly clear. Come February, we are not doing evictions in Minneapolis. And we can do no evictions the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to try and do it the easy way. Thank you.
Next we have Jazimi.
Thank you.
All right, go for it.
I want you to see my face when I say this. Orion, you said it was your responsibility to ensure that residents have the same means to protect themselves and stay inside. It is by any means necessary that I and my comrades on the correct side of history will ensure that our neighbors are protected and safe. Comply, be complicit, ICE will kill us anyway. Authoritarians do not need permission. Walls knows this. We, the people in the streets, are not going to fall for the trap of movementist, reformist stagnation. If the city police refuses to enforce our laws, maintaining their white supremacist thin blue line, the people will continue to be forced to pick up the slack. This is just another consequence of decades of austerity. We are used to taking care of ourselves, but know that that only makes your position and assumption of power obsolete. Or you can help us help ourselves. You must support, on paper and out loud, an eviction moratorium. Together, we are feeding each other. Together, we are housing each other. Together, we are fighting for each other, and we will arm each other, as is our Second Amendment right. It is accelerationist to not provide support as people are being ushered further and further into the margins. Our housing support networks are already overburdened, and as more people lose access to housing and become homeless because they're stuck inside, it is collaborationist to allow fascists to continue to harm our neighbors on the streets. Stepping up to submit a formalized request to the governor is more action than has been taken thus far under this occupation, and is still not enough. This city has failed to uphold its own laws to arrest the Nazi who murdered Renee Nicole Good. Immigrants are under attack. Homelessness is being further weaponized by the system. Immigrants, unhoused folks, and homeless immigrants work, pay taxes, and have families that love them, who, regardless of that, and in the absence of all of that, still deserve to be protected. These people live outside. We are letting them freeze to death. Undesirables, that's what the fascists see. We must resist the Nazis trying to clear them from our communities. We must protect them. We must include language to support our homeless neighbors. Thank you, Jason, Robin, Irene, Aisha, Jamal, Soren, and Elliot. Thank you for fighting. Everyone else, you disgust me.
Thank you. Next, we have number 21, Stacy Balcarin, 22, Elena Hawley, 23, Tia Jeanette, 24, Ella Hagan, and 25, Joe Hessla. I will welcome up number 21, Stacy.
Thank you, President Payne. My name is Stacy Balcarin. I'm here on behalf, firstly, of the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation, AFL-CIO, which endorsed this eviction moratorium last night, its delegation. It is important that you all know our union members of all of our 175 plus unions under our umbrella are experiencing terror. They are experiencing terror on their way to their hourly wage work. They're experiencing it on their way home shaking. They're experiencing it. Yesterday, we held a press conference talking about an ATU Local 1005 member who was taken from a bus stop on December 2nd. They didn't make it home until January 6th. We are working with the AFL-CIO networks that we have across the country to do what we can for our union members, but we need all of our leaders, especially the folks that we endorse, to lean in now. I'm taking this hat off to now speak as a constituent. I will reintroduce myself. My name is Stacy Balcarin. My pronouns are they, them. I live in Ward 3. Michael Rainville. There are people of color living in Ward 3. I live in North Loop. We exist. We are looking for a leader.
Acknowledge her. Excuse me. Acknowledge them.
I am a member of the press. I am out there every day. If ICE is not in Ward 3, which it is, if you're thinking it's not an issue for us, it is. I have colleagues I care about who are on the ground every day. I'm freaked out for them. I am a member of the press out there every day. If I were shot in the effing face, what would you say? I'm a renter. I may look like I make a lot of money. I work for a labor union. Our pay is fair, okay? If I needed to stay home, thank God my employer is part of the employer class that cares, because you certainly don't.
Thank you. Number 22, Elena Hawley.
My name is Elena Hawley, and I've lived in the Twin Cities all my life. I'm with Neighbors for Neighbors, a member of the Housing Justice League. Neighbors for More Neighbors works to ensure Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota is a place where everyone has a stable, humane place to live in the neighborhood they choose. On behalf of our organization, I'm speaking up in support of an eviction moratorium in Minneapolis to keep people safely housed during this crisis. We're asking the governor to unlock this possibility with a state of emergency, as well as asking county and state leaders to pursue moratoriums at higher levels. When COVID ripped through our lives, our leaders recognized that an external force made it impossible for ordinary Minnesotans to conduct business as usual, and took the reasonable step of implementing an eviction moratorium. Pandemics and federal deployments are circumstances out of our control, but the ability to distinguish an emergency and take necessary action to prevent damage to human life and safety during that emergency is, fundamentally, the only ability that warrants the election to public office. I certainly hope that the leaders Minneapolis elected can see the absolutely unreasonable danger that the specter of eviction poses to human life in this moment, and I hope that you will take swift action to prevent further damage by enacting an eviction moratorium. The country is watching us to see how we respond to this moment. We have a reputation as a humane refuge, a stronghold of logic and bravery. A decisive action, like an eviction moratorium in Minneapolis and Minnesota, will influence the actions taken by cities and states nationwide. You have the responsibility to protect the lives of people in Minneapolis. You have the opportunity today to set an example that will protect people nationwide. And to the financial concerns about an eviction moratorium, if landlords are harmed financially in this moment, they should be looking at the federal government to end the circumstances that are causing them harm. Thank you.
Next up, we have number 23, Tia Jeanette.
Hello. I'm here today on behalf of the Quadro Whittier Tenants Association. We live in Ward 10. We represent 5 buildings in the Whittier neighborhood. I just wanted to say that I think it is absolutely unconscionable to pursue evictions while we experience this violent invasion and occupation. It is shameful to force our most vulnerable neighbors to make the impossible decision between safety or shelter. Now is the time to show your community that you are willing to use the power that you have to help keep them safe from harm and protected from displacement. Calling this moratorium a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, disgusting, by the way. It doesn't make it okay to turn and look the other way while your community is bleeding. Thank you.
Next up, we have number 24, Ella Hagan.
I'm Ella Hagan. I live in Ward 10. I'm a member of PSL. Trump has declared open class warfare against the people of Minnesota, from canceling childcare funding to ending financial support for food stamps, to skyrocketing insurance premiums, and cutting additional funding to states with sanctuary cities. Trump has targeted Minnesota for collective punishment. He has enlisted his own personal army to enforce this punishment. In doing so, after over 6 weeks of Operation Metro Surge, ICE has made working conditions for Minnesotans across the state impossible. Facing a mountain of rising costs and a dangerous and racist federal occupation, workers are in desperate need of relief. We're hearing from our neighbors, our friends, our families, our loved ones. Leaving their homes to go to work brings uncertainty of whether they might be detained on the street, from their cars, outside places of worship, hospitals, or their workplaces themselves. They're forced into a crisis where going to work means being detained and staying home means they can't pay rent. Governor Walz has the ability to enact an eviction moratorium, halting all evictions until such a time that ICE is no longer a barrier for Minnesotans to pay their rent. He did this during the COVID-19 pandemic when thousands of people were unemployed or unable to work. He can and must do so again. Thanks.
Next up, we have number 25, Joe Hesla. And on deck, we have number 26, Samuel Hesla. Number 27, Rhea R. Number 28, Jessica Szyminski. Number 29, Jesse Mortensen. And number 30, Tyler Klarnow. Welcome, number 25, Joe Hesla.
Thank you. My name is Joe Hesla. I live in Ward 9. I'm a retired school teacher. And the other day I was patrolling at a school in Minneapolis. A group of brown and black kids were enjoying there at the door, and suddenly the staff said, get inside now. Now, don't dawdle, get inside. It was a traumatic moment, and who knows how often that happens. I'm asking you today to vote for this, and I want you to think about, right now, don't think about who's pressuring you, like Mayor Fry or someone else on the council. I want you to think about if it's your mother or your uncle or your kid that could be left when their mother gets snatched on the way into school, who gets a knock on their door, who gets yanked out of their car. You need to think about that, and you need to vote yes on this because it's the right thing to do, and if you don't, history will not treat you well.
Next, we have number 26, Samuel Hesla.
Hi, my name is Samuel Hesla. I just want to say it's about time to abolish ICE and get justice in here. It's time to speak up. And it's time to thank you, at my workplace, some of my coworkers is targeted by ICE, and my manager is also targeted by ICE, and I'm scared to go to work. I don't know if I should stay home or still go to work because if I go to work, I don't know if I'm gonna find my coworkers dead or deported. I don't want that. No. I don't want my manager to get deported or dead. No. No, I don't want that. So I'm actually scared to go to work too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next up, number 27.
Reagan.
Reagan.
Hi. My name is Reagan Rink. I'm Homeline's managing organizer, a renter, and a Ward 3 resident. I want to thank all the council members here who put this resolution forward. And I have a particular thank you to the council members showing up on the front lines with your community. We see you. Thank you. I am an organizer. I meet with people in their homes, I meet their families, and I work with them as they pursue their vision of stability and justice in housing. As an organizer, you get really close with people. I have held relationships with people for years. The people I organize with, that I live with, and that I love, don't want to go outside. They tell me that they're thinking about where they can hide in their apartments. They say, is my closet going to keep me safe? They aren't leaving unless they have to for work. They're asking their landlords to intervene, and even at the bare minimum, they are getting no support. And frankly, they're being gaslit as they're about the reality of ICE in their parking lots, throwing their children to the ground and brutalizing them. No one should have to make this choice between the safety of themselves or their loved ones and the freedom to move about their day as they so choose. But here we are, and thousands of renters are having to make that choice every day here. We are all frogs in a pot right now. Some of us have been boiled alive. Others see what is coming and have nowhere to go. And still, there are still some of us here who are just starting to feel uncomfortable with what's happening. I would never choose the pathway my elected officials have to enter into public service as a representative of the people. There are decisions and challenges to be faced that I don't think I could stand up to, but you and every single one of my elected officials in this state and at the federal level did make that choice. You chose to take on this responsibility and burden. And so it's on you to come up with a better solution if you do not like this one. That's not on us. It's empty words, it's not enough. So please be bold, move now, do it together, and move towards real action. Pass this resolution.
Thank you. Next, we will welcome number 28, Jessica Zeminski, and I'll just remind folks to just keep all your comments respectful and mindful. We're all going through a lot of intensity here. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. My name is Jessica Sheminski, and I am a Ward 9 resident and a policy attorney at the Housing Justice Center and a member of the Housing Justice League. Housing Justice Center is a nonprofit legal organization that is focused on ensuring access to safe, affordable, and fair housing. Nothing I have to say right now is something you haven't heard before, but it is important enough to keep repeating. Minneapolis and Minnesota are in crisis. ICE has taken over our city and is kidnapping our neighbors. Schools are closing. People are terrified of going to work or getting groceries because they know that they are just one encounter away from being stolen from their families. Our undocumented neighbors are a vital part of our diverse community, and we need to show them that we are here for them and value them. And it's not just our undocumented neighbors at risk. ICE is targeting anyone who doesn't look white or has the guts to stand up to them. Community members are showing up with donations, food deliveries, and patrolling the streets. It's time for our government to show up for them and do its part to ensure that parents don't have to risk being taken away from their children simply because rent is due in 2 weeks. Minneapolis and Minnesota need to act and issue an eviction moratorium in response to this public health and safety emergency. We owe it to our neighbors to ensure that they have the ability to focus on their personal safety and not stress about whether they will still have a home to shelter in next month. We don't know how long ICE will be terrorizing our community, but we do know that an eviction moratorium will save lives, just like it saved lives during the COVID-19 eviction moratorium. A moratorium gives people the chance to seek rental assistance while they shelter in place. It gives them the chance to live another day and not have to worry about just a bill until it's finally safe to go to work again. We are in an emergency, and we need to let our neighbors know that their safety is more important than a rent check. The time to act on this was yesterday, but the second best time is now. Evict ICE, not us. Thank you.
Next up, we have number 29, Jesse Mortensen.
Thank you, Council President. Jesse Mortensen, Ward 12 in the Standish neighborhood. And for me, this is about shared sacrifice. Councilmember Chavez and others have spoken powerfully to the folks who have no choice but to take extraordinary measures, who are being racially targeted by ICE and the feds right now. And we've seen just incredible evidence of so many people across Minneapolis who are not in that category, sacrificing time, energy, money to help people who are being targeted. It's only straightforward to me to ask landlords in this city and in this state to share in that sacrifice, because where else do people have to go? We're asking landlords, let people stay home because they have nowhere else to go that's safe right now. And I think if this was a flood, if the waters were rising and we were all passing buckets of sand around, I think we would, if we were running low on buckets, we might go to that Minnesota Multi-Bucket Association and say, hey, we need you to share some buckets right now. I think that's pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Next up, we have Tyler Kleinow. Number 30 on deck. Number 31 is Anna Nelson. 32, Angela B. Number 33, Faduma Mohammed. Number 34, Michaela Royfels. And number 36, Kenton Card. Number 35 had to leave. Number 30, Tyler.
Thank you.
Okay, looks like Tyler left. Number 31, Anna Nelson. Also had to leave. Number 32, Angela B. I'm having a hard time reading that. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Bonfilio. I'm a Ward 4 resident, and I'm here because we are absolutely horrified. I'm here because for the last 6 weeks, ICE and the federal government have been terrorizing our communities, having fear and isolation, and this stopped being about immigration enforcement a long time ago. As a community member, after community member, we're seeing harassed, beaten, and killed. Last night, we experienced another horrific night with a man shot in North Minneapolis. And then after, a car full of babies and children were attacked by the federal agents with 3 flashbangs, sending a 6-month-old to the hospital. We demand that Governor Walz issue a state of emergency now and use his executive power to pass a statewide eviction moratorium immediately. And you all have a part in that. We ask the City Council to unanimously pass a resolution and policy to support the eviction moratorium to be put in place as soon as he does so. During the last eviction moratorium, as a tenant organizer, I saw how so many families benefited from having more time. That's what this does for us. It gives us more time to figure out the rental assistance, to figure out all the pieces, and that's what we need right now. I myself was protected through the eviction moratorium from retaliation from my landlord for speaking up about my rights during the pandemic. And 2 days after the moratorium was over, I was terminated. My lease was terminated in retaliation for speaking up in 2021. Removing myself and my neighbors from a community that we held dear and deep relationships in for 8 years in Ward 5. We have heard from families not only worried about the rent, but the retaliation from their landlords in this time from other issues. There's absolutely no reason why we don't need this again during this time. The country is watching Minnesota right now, and we need to lead boldly. Please be creative and work together to find solutions.
Number 33, Faduma Mohammed.
My name is Faduma Mohammed. I am a community organizer at New Justice Project and a Ward 9 resident. My mom, a Ward 5 resident, has not left her house since the murder of Renee Good. The reality for many families in Minneapolis are facing right now. They are not leaving their house. They are trapped at home out of fear. They can't work. They can't earn a wage. They can't pay their rent. And that fear has real economic and mental health consequences. We are scared. People in our communities are being hunted down. That is the reality on the ground in Minneapolis. And February 1st is coming fast. If rent is due and people can't pay, we are looking at mass evictions in the middle of another ongoing public health crisis. We cannot survive adding a housing crisis onto everything we are already carrying. We are carrying too much. Evictions will not make the city safer. It'll make it easier for ICE to abduct and murder our neighbors, and it'll make the city unstable. Some of you are new to this council, and you asked us to trust you this summer when you campaigned, and we elected you. And now we are asking you to protect us, to stand up with us. Join your constituents, join your council members here who are on the ground every day, protecting us, making sure people aren't getting kidnapped. Pass this moratorium, pressure Governor Walz to act. We will not survive this moment if we do not protect each other. That is all I have to say.
Number 34, Michaela.
Juan Luis. I'm a Ward 7 resident. I'm here to just share a little bit of my personal story. Some of you might know from my professional capacity, but I'm here to speak in my personal capacity. Unfortunately, who I am and who my family are, we're not new to the prosecution and threats of displacement from federal agencies and immigration laws. Minnesota is the home that I was born in, and it continues to be my home today. But there have been moments where this state has failed us in our crisis to be affordable, right, and has caused us to move to different states. And I saw my family thrive in Arizona and Maricopa County in Phoenix, and saw that thrive and that drive that my parents have being completely drowned away when there was an election of a sheriff named Joe Aparo, who made it his mission to remove and displace my community. Minnesota is on the verge of being complicit in those same steps. I urge you now to take action on these resolutions to not only urge the governor to issue through his executive power of eviction moratorium, but to exercise your ability as the city council of the city to use all the tools in your mechanism to alleviate the pain and make sure that we are safe and whole. I am also a board member of a nonprofit who does immigration work, and it is incredibly, there's no words to explain what it is to go through a delegation of parental authority with a parent to ensure that folks have a plan in place for if they are caught on the streets and displaced and their children are at home or they're at school or they're anywhere else, that they actually have a plan to be housed and go with a family member that is safe and secure instead of going into the federal system, into a foster care system that does not care. Filling out a DOPA is incredibly real, and folks are at their last step of what can be done. I appreciate the folks that are on the street now with our community, and to Councilmember Chavez, I see you, I hear you. Much love to you.
Next up, we have number 36, Kenton Card. And on deck, number 37, Ian Rosenthal, number 38, Mike Samuelson, number 39, Rabbi Eva Cohen, and number 40, John Hain.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenton Card. I'm a research associate at Cura at the U. I live in Ward 6. The academic evidence indicates that an eviction moratorium is an effective and measured tool to foster community safety. So I'm going to share recent research on the topic that shows how it stabilizes families, it fosters health, and it has economic benefits. And these are all part of things that we need to be concerned. So it stabilizes families because it works in reducing evictions. It fosters health. We know we have a great natural experiment, grand, widespread across the country moratoriums during COVID-19. It helped reduce mental distress during that crisis. It also reduced the rate of infection and death. Once the moratorium were pulled back, we know there were over 400,000 additional cases of COVID, 10,000 additional deaths. So how might acting harm health, not acting harm health? I think that's something we need to ask ourselves right now. We should expect the economic pressures will, during this unprecedented crisis, to yield greater evictions, and that's going to mean violent arrests. We know people are going to be very vulnerable during the eviction process to this. Finally, fundamentally, there are positive signs that an eviction moratorium supports a healthy economy. We know that vulnerable families recovered faster during COVID-19, and there is not evidence that there are negative consequences for the housing market of implementing this kind of policy. My team at Cura has looked at Just Cause, a very similar policy, and shown with the most rigorous econometric tools there are not reduced rates of growth, of production, reduced supply, or increased costs of rent. So I can share that evidence. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, number 37, Ian Rosenthal.
Hello, City Council. My name is Ian Rosenthal, and I'm a renter in Ward 9, and I'm here to lend Jewish Community Action's voice to the chorus of advocates demanding an eviction moratorium. The Jewish principle of Pekuach Nefesh tells us that the preservation of life supersedes almost all other rules. The racist invasion of federal forces to the Twin Cities is endangering all of us, and the daily violence our immigrant neighbors and loved ones are experiencing is a civic crisis of the highest order. We know that lives are at stake because we have already lost so many. At the vigil for Renee Good on the day of her murder, a mother and child stood behind me. The child asked, "Mom, does ICE kill children too?" Her mother, with unimaginable care and honesty, answered, "I hope not, sweetie." I lost my breath at the sadness of this moment. I imagine my ancestors facing the same questions from their child and having to muster unimaginable strength to reply. This is the world we are currently living in. For the past 6 weeks, people have been terrified to go to work, school, or someplace as simple as the grocery store. And the reality is that the most vulnerable in our communities know that they are often safest at home. Yet they are still forced to do the calculus. How many days of work can I miss and still make the rent? And for those who have already had loved ones ripped away from them, they are forced to spend on basic needs rather than solely focus on returning their beloveds. Even under absolute duress, the rent is due. At the time where our home is one of the last places of refuge, our system is threatening to displace our immigrant communities. There is no justice in eviction under occupation. There is no justice in eviction at all. And for this reason, we are calling on our city council to unanimously pass this resolution and policy today. And to Governor Walz, we say, do your part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 38, Mike Samuelson.
Mike Samuelson, Ward 2. This is an emergency. I'm here for people who can't be here because they're protecting their neighbors or they're too afraid to be here. This is an emergency. We don't need words, we need action. Today, we can either do something or we can do nothing. This is an emergency. This isn't the time to say, is this the perfect policy? Do you think anyone here thinks this is the perfect policy that will solve all of our problems with ICE? No. We know this is not the perfect policy. We know this is one part of the solution. And so we need action today from you all who we trust, who we've elected to help our city in a time where we need so much help. This is an emergency. Please, today, unanimously, pass this resolution, pass this ordinance, send it to the governor, and show him what leadership looks like from elected officials. This is an emergency. Thank you.
Next up, number 39, Rabbi Eva Cohen.
Thank you. I'm Rabbi Eva Cohen, and I live in Minneapolis' Seward neighborhood in Councilmember Wansley's ward. I'm here with Jewish Community Action to testify to the need for an eviction moratorium in the wake of ICE's immoral occupation that's targeting our immigrant communities. An eviction moratorium is an ethical, humane response to an unethical, inhumane situation. As so many of our neighbors are sheltering in place to stay safe and are suffering financially because they can't go to work or because their family members have been kidnapped, the last thing that we need is for our neighbors to lose their homes and to become even more vulnerable. Looking to Jewish tradition, the Mishnah, the oldest collection of rabbinic law, asserts that renters can't be evicted during the rainy season, during the rainy winter time between the fall festival of Sukkot and the spring festival of Passover. There's a recognition that it's not ethical to kick someone out of their home when the weather outside is bad, when it's dangerous to be unsheltered. Right now in Minneapolis, not only is it winter and not only is it freezing, ICE is adding a whole nother level of coldness and danger. Let's do everything that we can to keep our neighbors safe and warm in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have John Heine, and on deck, we have number 41, Clint Connor, 42, Connor Hobart, 43, Sam Weisberg, 44, Al Longtime, and 45, Gwen Gare. Welcome, number 40, John.
Thank you. My name is John Heine. I'm a longtime resident of Minneapolis and a resident of Ward 7. I live on the street grid where south meets north. And I'm here to confirm what you've heard this morning. Every neighborhood in this city is under a siege, and it has to end. You can't end that siege today. They couldn't end it yesterday in federal court just the other day. We got to wait and have a hearing before and I appreciate the city being a part of that, stepping up what can be done to stop this invasion of our town. But we have been invaded, besieged by a marauding army of armed thugs who are kidnapping our neighbors. And I hope you take into account everything you have heard from my neighbors and fellow citizens today, because they can't say it any more eloquently than I have. I know you have seen it. I know all of us in this room have heard it, and you can't deny it. So to say this is not an emergency, it is. It's a public health emergency. It's a public safety emergency. What can you do in this moment? An emergency in the state of Minnesota, it sure as hell is. I want that declaration. And what relief you can afford is just one element of relief in eviction moratorium. There's so much more to do, and people are here doing it. And I'd like you to do your part. Yeah, there's going to be economic disruption, some dislocation, but we've seen that already. You can't rent a car at the Minneapolis airport right now. They're all gone. You can't find a respirator mask on the hardware store shelf in your neighborhood. Well, we're making enough whistles anyway. But what are you going to do? What can you do today? You've heard it. It should be unanimous. Pass the resolution.
Number 41, Clint Connor.
My name is Clint Connor. I live in Lowry Hill, and I'd like to, first of all, thank the City Council for giving the public this opportunity to speak on these very important issues. Although I've represented many vulnerable tenants in housing court, I'm not here specifically to speak about the moratorium. Instead, I'd like to take this opportunity to address how the city is dealing with the unprecedented issues we are facing more generally. I'd like to follow up on the point my City Council member made, Ms. Schaefer, about the importance of rapid local response in dealing with rogue federal agents. I completely agree on that point, but it begs the question, where are the rapid response professionals in the MPD whose salaries pay to respond to public safety concerns? The mayor has been touting to the media that the city's already spent $2 million in overtime for the MPD since the ICE incursion. But the only thing we have to show for that is 40 arrests of our own neighbor protesters and 0 arrests of ICE criminals. We need the mayor to implement an ICE criminal arrest plan, just like the city of Philadelphia has already done. We need our police to help change the narrative from law versus radicals to ICE criminals versus law. And we need it now. Many suspect that Trump is using this as a testing grounds for interfering with our elections in November. If we don't use this time for our MPD to learn counter tactics, and we are caught flat-footed then, like we are now, the results could be historically catastrophic. I hope you're not satisfied with the mayor's excuse that ICE has bigger guns and more men. This is not about guns. It's not about numbers. It's about our paid professionals enforcing our laws against oppressors.
Thank you. Number 42, Connor Hobart.
Council, Ward 5 resident, just here to say evict ICE, not us. Thank you.
Number 43, Sam Weisberg.
Thank you, Council President Payne. My name's Sam Weisberg. I'm here, I'm a liquor sales rep. I work for a liquor distributor. This is not a job that should put me in front of the City Council. I work with restaurants across the city. I talk to dozens of restaurants every week. Every single restaurant in this city is being impacted by this ICE invasion right now. They all have staff who are being affected. At best, staff are out because they are caring for loved ones or watching their neighborhoods. At worst, and I have personally talked to multiple restaurants in this situation, at worst, they have staff who are hiding in their homes and are not able to come to work. It would be wonderful if those restaurants could pay those staff people. For those of you who believe that an eviction moratorium is not enough of a policy. I would love to see your policy to support those restaurant owners. If you like business, go support them. They could pay their people. But until that policy is passed, February 1st is coming, all you need to do is pass it up to the governor, ask the governor to pass an eviction moratorium. What this policy is doing, what we are asking you to do, is to prioritize the life of people in your city who will be put into a system of concentration camps that are unaccountable. We know this. This has been reported. So you can either protect people's lives who are going to be put into concentration camps, or you can protect the financial investment of landlords in this city. I'm a Jewish person. I think that choice is really morally clear. I don't understand why there's any hemming and hawing about this on this council, but I really appreciate all of you who have been out doing the work in your neighborhoods. Councilmember Payne, I am especially grateful to you. I see you on the street every day. Thank you all so much.
Number 44, Al.
Hello, I'm Al Longtine. I'm a Ward 7 resident. It bears repeating that these agents of ICE, Customs Border Patrol, and DHS are deliberately obscuring their identities, refusing to provide valid warrants, and brutalizing civilians while doing so. Our neighbors are being picked up outside of schools, their work, and their residences. Families are being left without parents and providers. Who could go to work to pay rent in these conditions? Friends of mine are afraid to leave the house. They don't go out. They carry their passport with them to get groceries. All of them have been citizens since birth, but they know that does not matter. A rent moratorium would help secure families so that no one is turned out just to be scooped up by anonymous armed agents. This is a public health necessity. Thank you.
Next, we have number 45, Gwen. After that, number 46, Amber Frederick. 47, Megan Blackwood. And number 48, Kimberly Luttrell. Number 45, Gwen.
Hello, my name is Gwen. I'm a resident of Ward 2, and I'm here to call for an eviction moratorium so that our citizens can do the job of our police and our government and protect our citizens. Because over the years, we have seen that they will not come to protect us. If you want us to survive, if you want us to still prop up your economy that you care about more than our lives, then please allow us to strike. Please. I feel the world is screaming out in pain. The system that humanity has built is failing. Our world is run by hatred, and it sickens me. It breaks my heart. I'm extremely disappointed in the people before me. I'm extremely disappointed that this is the world we live in. I want to see change. Everyone is no different from each other. We all deserve love and care. And what I'm seeing happening to our immigrants is sad. And if we think it's going to stop with them, you're wrong. You're wrong. Donald Trump is using us. He's seeing if he can break our spirit. We can't let him, on a national scale, see us fail. This is a test to see how much the federal government can do and get away with. Please, we need to rise together, and we can only do that with enough effort if you have the eviction moratorium, or else people are, they're scared. We're tied to our jobs, to live, to eat, to have health care, everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 46, Amber. Welcome.
My name is Amber Frederick. I'm a Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board Commissioner and at-large commissioner and a Ward 5 resident. Councilmember Warren, you ran on ensuring that every resident has access to safe and affordable homes. The housing crisis is not theoretical. It's happening right now, and it is escalating in your ward. Today, many of your constituents are afraid to show up and speak to you. I recognize my own privilege in being able to speak to you today, and I'm using it to speak for neighbors who are too scared to be present. Here's what they asked me to share. We need to stay here with our family. Our kids are missing school, and my brother and his family are scared to go to work. Another neighbor said, as a mother with a child on the spectrum, we are living in fear. My husband and I are working from home, and our lives are on pause. Another shared, we are terrified to be out. We have to order everything to the house. Our kids don't get to play outside. We don't know what tomorrow will look like. This is not the American dream. We are living in a nightmare. We are American citizens. Council members Warren, Vita, and Palmisano, as an elected official myself, I have spoken with you about values and beliefs, and I believe that we share common ground. I do. I believe that we share common ground. If those shared values do not include keeping our neighbors safe, if protecting immigrant neighbors is dismissed as not sustainable, then I need to know, what will you do? This is an emergency, and our neighbors deserve proposals to be passed without hemming and hawing about why they are not perfect. They will die. They deserve your action. You know our immigrant neighbors are vulnerable. I believe that if you do not pass this, you're using your authority as a shield from yourselves instead of using it to protect them. That is a deliberate choice. I believe that. I do.
Thank you. Number 47, Megan Blackwood.
My name is Megan Blackwood. I am a nursing student, a healthcare professional, a mom, a wife, and I am a resident of Minneapolis. Over the past few weeks, we have been catapulted into chaos. As residents, we've been left wondering whether we still have a city we can all call safe, not just in theory, but in practice. I send my daughter to school wondering if she will be safe. I go to work wondering if my coworkers or myself are safe. I go to campus constantly questioning every person without a campus ID, asking myself whether they're meant to be there. More than 40% of my cohort is made up of immigrants, and 10% have already dropped out. This semester just started. They were future nurses who had to put their dream on hold. So I watch for them. I watch for my daughter, I watch for my wife, and I watch for my neighbors. That constant vigilance is not safety, it is fear. And fear is exhausting. ICE is not only instilling fear in immigrant communities, it is spreading fear across neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, and homes. I know you may have limited power to remove ICE from our city, but you have immense power to help us apply pressure to those who can. Your voice matters too. Your positions matter, but know that silence is also a choice. When we go home, we should be able to feel secure under our own roof. A home should be a place of rest, not a place of anxiety that follows you through the door. You sit in positions of power. Across the state, there are people in positions you are in, will say anything for attention, for a headline, for 10 seconds of fame. Will you be one of them?
Thank you. Number 48, Kimberly Luttrell.
I feel like in Minneapolis, I'm a sitting duck. I don't feel safe at home. I don't feel safe at work. Kids aren't safe at school. I was born in Minneapolis, and I'm scared out of my mind because I have skin that is not white. And that is not fair. I am a nurse. There's a public health emergency because nurses aren't showing up to work, because we're freaked out. Because when we advocate for our Black and brown patients, what happens when ICE comes into our hospitals? We are making plans on what we are going to do because we are in ethical dilemmas on what is the right thing to do. What happens when they start pulling people out of ICUs when life is not sustainable? Outside of the hospital, where is our moral code? I make $80,000 a year, $20,000 more than what the average Minnesota makes, and I put my mortgage in forbearance this week because it's not sustainable. Mutual aid is not sustainable anymore.
Our last speaker that signed up is Connor Carroll. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak? If you do, please see the clerks outside of 392. Otherwise, welcome Connor.
Thank you, council members. I do hope that the council makes it abundantly clear about what this resolution is and is not. I know there was some confusion from folks about what this does and doesn't do, and I to that point, I want to respond to some of the council members who spoke at the beginning of the meeting, expressing skepticism about the impact of this resolution, characterizing this resolution as just a letter to the governor. To me, implies that it has no impact, and I don't think that's true. I think a letter from the elected representatives of the largest, most vibrant city in the state with the highest immigrant population absolutely has impact and sends a message not just to the governor, but to everyone across the country. And I hope that you, the council members, when you receive a letter from your constituents, I hope that you would also consider that to be impactful as well. Because today's resolution is symbolic, I would ask that the council work as fast as possible to pass a citywide eviction moratorium so that immigrant renters can stay home and stay safe. And I would add too, it is highly beneficial even to citizens and permanent residents of Minneapolis, because I personally know people who are citizens, people of color, and they are staying home more because they are worried about getting picked up and harmed. And I would also ask at the city level to pass rental assistance for Minneapolis renters, for the next 3 to 5 months at least, so that even eventually ICE will stop what it's doing, I think. But it will take time for people to build their savings back up, to build back the money they are earning when they return to work, and they need to have some relief during that time. So, thank you.
Thank you. Now our last speaker is number 50, Abby Harry.
Hi, I wasn't going to speak today because I just wanted to support everyone else in the room, but I'm a resident of Ward 4, and I just feel like I have to add that I'm watching you, Council Member Vita, on how you vote on this issue, and I will personally support if someone else runs against you next campaign if you don't vote yes. Thank you.
That is our final speaker, and that completes the list of registered speakers. With that, I will close the public comment period. I want to thank everyone who spoke or submitted comments. With that, I know that Vice President Osmond has a prior engagement. I know Councilmember Wansley has some comments, and I know that Councilmember Whiting has an amendment. Can we procedurally take up the amendment and then speak to the full package? Is that okay with everybody? Okay. I will recognize Councilmember Whiting.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have an amendment to offer and would like to speak to it. It sounds like we'll probably speak to this as a whole. And so I know you all should have been distributed copies from the dais. If not, let me know, and I'm sure the clerk will get them out. But offering up, it sounds like, Mr. President, then speaking to this amendment will come after right now.
Without objection, let's take up the resolution as amended. Councilmember Wansley? Is there we'll take the full package as amended. So let's move this as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I will now recognize Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. As I highlighted colleagues earlier, I'm bringing this resolution forward, urging Governor Walz to enact a eviction moratorium forward, because I, like many of you, have been called on by my constituents, some of which who spoke today, but a number of them who are represented by you all also spoke today. And they discussed that they wanted us to do everything that we can to respond to the reality of what our community is experiencing right now, and that is a violent occupation by federal ICE agents. My office has fielded countless requests and questions on how the city can protect its residents. And I want to be honest, I have struggled to answer and to respond to those questions, because the reality is we as a community are experiencing an unprecedented attack on our civil liberties. And I'm grateful to Council President Payne for bringing the subsequent resolution that also addresses that. But in addition to them violating our civil liberties, it's also unclear what the plan is being brought forward by our elected leaders on how to address the continued escalating violence that's being carried out by ICE agents against our residents. And I recognize the City Council is not equipped with the tools to effectively respond to this crisis. But despite the lack of tools that we do have, I do think the ones that we're very knowledgeable of, which includes passing resolutions, passing ordinances, which is also something we included in today's agenda and that you all passed as well. We do have a number of tools that we can advance forward. And I'm grateful that one of those are being brought forward for consideration today, and with support from several of my colleagues who've also been on the ground and have seen what ICE has done in separating families and terrorizing our communities and shooting flash grenades and tear gas at our residents and children. That said, I couldn't imagine us not doing everything that we can when we're literally seeing ordinary people put their lives on the line every single day to protect our residents. And this is one of the ways in which we can mitigate harm. We recognize that many Minneapolis residents cannot safely go to work and earn rent, and normal tasks such as taking the bus to work, picking up kids from school, or going to doctor appointments or visiting your places of worship are now dangerous and can result in you being kidnapped, arrested, or even shot and killed by a federal ICE agent. That said, and that collective reality means that residents need to be able to shelter in place to survive this attack. And in order to do that, we need a eviction moratorium. And this eviction moratorium is simply a renter protection that prohibits the removal of tenants from their homes. And it has been used to protect renters when there was exceptional circumstances such as the COVID-19 pandemic, where we saw Governor Walz issue an eviction moratorium through the executive order. Because again, in that moment, thousands of residents across the state lost their jobs and were unable to work and thus unable to make rent. ICE is creating a statewide crisis that also requires the governor to step in and ensure that nobody is evicted and then put at risk for being abducted or, again, arrested or shot and killed. And without an eviction moratorium, thousands of vulnerable families are facing eviction as soon as February 1st. And the alternative is that workers are then forced to leave their homes when it's not safe to do so. And again, being risked towards getting kidnapped, arrested, or even killed by ICE. Governor Walz has the power to pass an executive order and should do so immediately of declaring an eviction moratorium. Everyday people, again, are risking their lives to protect their neighbors, and they need to see political courage from the people who have the means to take action. That includes us passing this resolution today. So again, I hope this will be supported by my colleagues, and also grateful to Councilmember Whiting for the amendment that he's going to discuss, and really trying to reach a place of agreement of acknowledging that our housing providers, specifically those who are providing crucial housing services to our most vulnerable residents, need to have some recognition in whenever this gets rolled out. So I'll let him speak further to his amendment that I am going to be supporting today. And again, ask you all to support the resolution as amended.
Councilmember Chugtai.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I want to start with thanking the dozens of people who came out to speak today, or to attend our proceedings here and just make your presence known, and encourage us to do the right thing in this moment. In the last few weeks, I have I've received hundreds of phone calls and emails from my constituents, and folks who are uniquely experiencing this moment, and are looking for local leaders to step up, are looking for local leaders to demonstrate that when we are seeing our systems collapse and fail, when we're seeing our federal government attacking our neighbors, that local government steps up to be the first line of service and the last line of defense for the people who call Minneapolis home. I am a proud daughter. I'm a proud eldest daughter of Pakistani Muslim immigrants, and I grew up in a mixed status family. I spent my early life in a predominantly Muslim and immigrant community, and saw firsthand throughout my early childhood when ICE was first created, established in this country, the type of horrors they have always inflicted upon the people whose communities they come into. I have seen families torn apart from when I was 3-4 years old up until today, and it's actually a really devastating thing to experience, just how much worse it's gotten over time. I went back and forth on the glorified greeting card comment, because when it was first said, I was like, yep, I agree. This is a glorified greeting card. And why should anyone have any concern about signing a glorified greeting card to the governor? And I think it was the gentleman who's still sitting in the chambers who spoke about how important it is for the largest city, the most vibrant city in our state, to be stepping up, and that we shouldn't diminish that as just a glorified greeting card. And that got me thinking about the ways in which Minneapolis has led this state over and over and over again in transformative moments. Whether it was in passing a $15 minimum wage, whether it was in being the first city to guarantee earned sick and safe time to our workers, whether it was in establishing a living wage, a minimum wage equivalent for Uber and Lyft drivers. And when we step up, other cities follow. And oftentimes it then means that that further action is taken. And so, I would say to our park board representative who's here, I hope that similar types of actions will come from our other local government partners. And I think that's going to be an important inflection point in helping make an eviction moratorium possible. I know that our community is doing every single thing they can. Our community is calling for an eviction moratorium, is contacting the governor's office and their local elected leaders. Our community is also stepping up in these brave and incredible ways right now, right? Last night, 800 people from my neighborhood showed up to a community meeting. We've never seen that happen before. To say, I am terrified in this moment, but what can I do to step up? What can I do personally to step up in this moment to show up for my neighbors, to show up for my community? And so, I asked to our landlord lobby here today, Mr. Smith, it's always wonderful. It's always a pleasure to have you in our chambers. If an eviction moratorium isn't the solution that helps keep people in their homes, prevents families from being torn apart, prevents people from being killed, then what is? Yeah. How do you suggest we get ICE out of Minneapolis? Should we do more tweeting every day? Should we do more national news interviews every day? should we beg them to leave? I'm out of ideas, actually. And so I'd love to know how you suggest we show up for our communities right now. I'd love to know what you are doing to show up for the tenants who pay rent every month, and show me how we are all matching the courage that ordinary people are demonstrating, the extraordinary courage that ordinary people are demonstrating right now. Until then, I can't sleep at night knowing that we have put any family in the brutal and inhumane false choice of picking between losing their home or losing their life or risking deportation. And so I am proud to support this today, and I want to thank the authors who've brought this forward and would ask if I can be added as a co-author as well. Thank you.
Council Member Rainville, you raise a point of privilege.
Yes, thank you. I think we're all in agreement on this, and I have to leave and I'd like to vote, so I'd like to call the question, please.
Second. All right. There is no debate on that question, so I will have the clerk call the roll on calling the question.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, so we will take up the resolution as amended, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that resolution is adopted. Finally, we have item number 9, which is the resolution that I brought forward, recognizing Operation Metro Surge as an egregious disregard of constitutional rights and the reprehensible unsanctioned commission of violent acts against Minneapolis community during Operation Metro Surge. I don't think I have the voice left to read this resolution fully. I've lost my voice screaming at fascists and getting gassed. So we're gonna, it's been printed out for my colleagues to read. It would go into the public record. It's just acknowledging the horrendous conditions that ICE is putting our city through, our residents through. Not just our immigrant residents, not just our undocumented residents. Every single resident of the city of Minneapolis is getting punished and brutalized because of who we are. And I am proud of who we are. And I am not scared of this government. And I want to say that loudly and clearly. And that's what this resolution is aiming to achieve. And I will recognize Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to ask if I could be listed as a co-author on this.
I would welcome every single member of this body who wants to be a co-author. If there's anybody that doesn't want to be a co-author, or clerks, can we recognize that as everyone?
There's no objection. We'll add all 13 council members.
Okay, all right. Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you for bringing that forward, President Payne. I just wanted to make one comment. I just want to thank our MPD officers in this extremely difficult moment, that they are still answering our 911 calls. They are still showing up to work. And I want to publicly say I appreciate their efforts in this very difficult and dangerous time. I ask that you hang with us, that you decide not to leave us, but that you stand and remember your oath of public service. Remember why you came to this job and help us, help lead the way in this mess that we are in. And I'd also say I am grateful to everyone who is trying to lead, who is, whether that's in the streets, whether that's our mayor, whether that's our governor, and all of us here on the dais. This is a time for all of us, and I just wanted to mention and thank you to MPD for your part in this puzzle.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. President. And if I could briefly, just going to add another comment here, and I think there is a deep, profound thank you. I think we've seen in this moment that there is a unity across this body, that we are unacceptable or not accepting this level of engagement in our city. Regardless of ideologies, regardless of political makeups, this body, and I have seen it for the past week and a half, every single one of us have been engaging and in trying to figure out how we step up against an unprecedented deployment of federal agents in our city. And every single person on this dais, from the mayor to every single 13 one of us, are trying to figure that out. Just like our residents, as they are too, we are all trying to figure out how best to operate in an environment where we have a federal administration that is actively not just listening to Minneapolis laws, the federal Constitution. We are trying to figure out how best to operate and not just aim for perfection. Our concerns are not that this resolution is not perfect. It is how we alleviate harm immediately. And I believe there is another way that we can do this as well. And I think many of us on this body agree with that too, is figuring out how to put funds into the hands of our neighbors that are most affected by this. And I would urge my colleagues that if we want to actually alleviate harm immediately, figuring out how best to put forward rental assistance and mutual aid programs with this city and our capacities. And so that is my comment there. And again, thanks all of you for accepting those amendments as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, President Payne. Thank you for bringing this resolution forward. I'll be supporting it, and just want to let the public know that while these items have been passing, and this one is looks like it's going to pass as well, the next step of what we need neighbors to rise up for is the eviction moratorium ordinance that we need to pass in this body, because words are great, asking our governor to take action is great, but this body, this city council, still has an authority to pass an ordinance to make sure that we can protect our neighbors, and that starts again with the eviction moratorium ordinance that we will be considering in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Okay, I will have the clerk call the roll.
On the resolution.
On the resolution.
Aye. Am I calling the roll?
The clerk will call the roll on the resolution.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osman.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That carries, and that item has been approved. We have a closed session coming up. Normally, we take announcements before we go into closed session. Are there any announcements before we go into closed session, or should we get right into it? All right. With that, we've completed all items on our agenda, and will now consider the request for a closed session, which is to receive a briefing on the litigation matter listed on the agenda. Before I move to close the meeting, I'll recognize the city attorney to provide the legal basis for the requested closed session.
Thank you, President Payne. The next item on the agenda is the closed session in the case of State of Minnesota et al. Versus Nome et al. Your lawyers wish to provide a briefing to the council on this litigation matter. Accordingly, under the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, Minnesota Statutes, Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, the council may, upon a proper motion, close the meeting for the purposes of attorney-client communication as permitted by the attorney-client privilege. In considering the motion, the council should weigh the right of the public to know what its government is doing against the need of the city to preserve the confidentiality of its discussions with its attorneys.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. I move to close our public meeting as authorized under the Open Meeting Law, specifically Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05, for the purpose of receiving a briefing on the litigation matter of the State of Minnesota et al. Versus Nome et al. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren.
Aye.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Aye.
Councilmember Walmsley.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Whiting.
Aye.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville is absent. Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Osmond.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries. For the viewing public, I will note that the broadcast of this meeting will continue, and the council will reconvene in public after we've completed our closed session. Thank you. Tech team, we're ready. The time is now 5:50, and the City Council has reconvened in open session following our closed session. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to prove the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Warren.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Present.
Councilmember Whiting.
Present.
Councilmember Chowdhury is absent. Councilmember Stevenson is absent. Councilmember Rainville is absent. Councilmember Vitoc.
Present.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Vice President Osmond is absent. President Payne.
Present.
There are 9 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. With that, we've completed our business today. I will note for council members and the public that we have another shortened cycle of meetings scheduled for next week, with a committee of the whole meeting on January 20th and a city council meeting scheduled for January 22nd. At this point, it appears likely that we'll be able to cancel those meetings, but a final decision will be made tomorrow. Council members will be alerted via email, and the clerks will send out the appropriate notices. With nothing further to come before the council and without objection, this meeting is hereby adjourned.